it well. Live faster, young bad girls do it well. Live faster, young bad girls do it well.
Hey guys, this is From Steph to You, bringing you my UFC 190 fantasy picks and fight predictions. I'm sorry it's been a few weeks. Been going to school and had a lot of stuff going on, so I just haven't had quite enough time. I did do my Tom Brady video the other day. I'm gonna try to do these videos. I would like to do them a week in advance. The only issue is that DraftKings is kind of slow getting their the pricing for each fighter out, and so I'm gonna probably be trying to get them out every Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. I'll be doing videos coming up. So it's also tough because it seems like UFC does a fight every weekend. So anyway, let's just get straight to it. First up in the bantamweight division, and I might butcher some of these guys' names, but we have Hugo Viana versus Guido Canetti. Viana comes in at 8-2. He's about the same height. He's 28 years old. He's fighting Canetti, who's coming in 6-2. He's got three knockouts with 3 decision wins. He lost his debut to Enrique Briones, but he seems, from what I've watched of him, he has a lot of power, a lot of different strikes. Saw a pretty crazy knockout that he had a few fights back. It wasn't in the UFC, but I'm gonna go ahead and take him. He's actually the underdog. He's coming in at 4,200 on DraftKings, and on a counter move, and 8,500 on DraftKings, and I'm gonna go ahead and take him in this fight. Next up in the middleweight division, we have Victor Miranda versus Clint Hester. Clint Hester is a guy that I like to watch a lot of film on. Watched a few of his fights. He's got a lot of upside to him, but he does have some losses. He's got 7 knockouts, 1 submission, 3 decisions. He's won 4 out of his last 5 in the UFC. He's throwing 3.8 significant strikes per minute. Miranda comes in, kind of similar record, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's only throwing 1.7 significant strikes per minute. So for just pure punch volume, I would look at Hester. I am going to pick him. On DraftKings, Victor Miranda's coming in at 9,100. Hester's coming in at 10,300. But if you're going to go with someone, I would definitely take Hester in this one. And then next up in the bantamweight division, we have Yuri Alcantara and Leandro Issa. I'm going to go with Alcantara on this one. He's got 13 knockouts, 12 submissions. He's a veteran fighter. He's a little bit taller too. He's 5'9", whereas Issa is only 5'6". He's only had 1 knockout loss and 1 submission loss, and then the rest of them all have been decisions. So he's not likely to be finished. He's throwing 70% takedown rate. We got a 70% takedown rate as well. Whereas Issa, almost all of his wins have been through submission. But he's throwing 2.6 significant strikes per minute, but he doesn't really have knockout power that I've seen, and I would definitely look at him to lose. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Alcantara in this one. And then next up in the welterweight division, we have Warley Alves versus Nordine Taleb, and Alves, he's the young fighter, 24. He's coming in at 8-0. He's got 4 submissions, 1 knockout. He just coming off a win over Alan Jouban, which is an impressive win. But and he's fighting Taleb, who's 11-2. He's 34 years old. I've seen some of his fights. His problem is, I saw him in the Ultimate Fighter. He doesn't really pull the trigger. He's not really the kind of guy to go in with that killer instinct. The problem is with Alves, he's pretty priced pretty heavy on DraftKings, 11,100, and on counter moves he's 5,000. So I don't know if I necessarily like him to get a first round knockout. And I also want to point out for this card, guys, that there's a lot of heavyweights, and I know people like to try to take the best fighters, but that's not always what you're going to get. You want the guys that are going to get first round knockouts. Ronda Rousey, that's a great high percent chance for a first round knockout. Stefan Struve, guys like that. You want the points. So that doesn't necessarily mean that these other fighters aren't good, but you want to get the first round finish if you can. Guys that don't have really a high finish record, they might be a really good fighter, but it's just not going to score well for you, especially if you're going to be playing, against thousands of people. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take Alves in this one, but I wouldn't pay that kind of money for him. I'm not too sure if he's if he's gonna be able to put it away. Definitely, I wouldn't say first round if he does. And then next up in the light heavyweight division, we have Rafael Cavalcante versus Patrick Cummins. Cavalcante comes in 12-5. He's 35 years old, but he's fought a who's who of the light heavyweight division. He's got a lot of power in his hands. He's got 11 knockouts, 1 submission. He's lost 3. He's been knocked out 3 times, but he's throwing 3.2 significant strikes per minute. He's lost 2 out of his last 3, but I just think he has a lot of power. And going against Patrick Cummins, he's a great wrestler and everything else. He fought Cormier not too long ago, but I just don't think he's gonna win. I don't think he can handle Cavalcante's power. And actually, it's funny that Patrick Cummins is such a highly priced fighter. He's coming in at 10,600 and on DraftKings and 4,900 on Counter Move. I wouldn't take Patrick Cummins in this one. I think he gets knocked out first or second round. So go ahead and take Rafael Cavalcante in that one. And then in the welterweight division, we have Damian Maia versus Neil Magny. And Damian Maia is a big veteran of the UFC. He's 37 years old. He's 6 foot. He's coming in at 20-6. He's got 12 finishes, 9 submissions out of those. He's an absolute wizard on the ground. I mean, one of the highest level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts that are out there. The guy he's fighting, Neil Magny, he's a really big welterweight. He's coming in at 6'3". He's got a record of 15-3. He's the younger fighter. He's 27. He does have 8 finishes with 5 knockouts, but he's been submitted twice. He's never been knocked out, but he's been submitted twice. And now his thing is he's averaging 3 takedowns per fight. And so, I mean, if he gets Maia down, you have to think about Magny's style. If he gets Maia down, I think he'll probably get submitted. So I'll go ahead and take Damian Maia in this one. And then in a really interesting strawweight fight, in the women's strawweight fight, you have Claudia Gadelha and Jessica Aguilar. Now Gadelha just lost to Joanna Jacek not too long ago, and that's not really. She's a young fighter. She's only 26. She's coming in at 12-1. She has 8 finishes, 6 submissions. She's got a ton of takedowns. She's averaging 6 takedowns per fight and 3.23 significant strikes per minute. So she has a high output fighter. She's coming in at 11,200 on DraftKings, 5,000 on Counter Move. But I've watched Jessica Aguilar. She's a veteran fighter. She's 33 years old. A former World Series of Fighting champion. She's fighting some of the smaller venues, but she's a really good fighter. She's coming in at 19-4. She got 10 finishes with 8 submissions. She throws bombs. I've seen this girl fight, and she just comes forward constantly. She's constantly moving forward. She hasn't lost in 5 years, and she's riding a 10-fight win streak. So I just really think that she'll actually be able to beat Gadelha. I think that she's just gonna really just use her experience and her sheer will just to move forward. And I think that she gets the win. So I'm actually going to take the underdog and take Jessica Aguilar in this fight. Next up in the heavyweight division, we have Antonio Bigfoot Silva versus Sao Pelele. You have to get this fight on your DraftKings or Counter Move lineup, especially on Counter Move. Antonio Bigfoot Silva, he's coming in 18-7. He's fought the who's who of the heavyweight division in the UFC. He's got 16 finishes with 13 knockouts. He's coming on DraftKings at 8,800 and Counter Move 4,900. But he's been knocked out in his last 2 fights. He's lost 5 out of his past 8 fights. Frank Mir, who's my favorite fighter, he just hit him with just a double jab jab left hook combo. It wasn't even a big shot, and it knocked Silva out. And now he's going against Sao Pelele, who's coming in at 22-4. He's 37 years old, so he's an old fighter, but he's finished every fight he's ever won. He's got 18 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's throwing 2.9 significant strikes per minute, and he's got 2 takedowns per fight. So I really think this is going to be a first round knockout. I think Pelele is just going to drop a bomb on Silva. Silva is not the same fighter that he once was, and I really think you cannot afford, especially for the price. You look at Pelele, 4,900 on counter move and only 10,600 on DraftKings. This is going to be my shot of the night. Takes out Pelele. I'm telling you, he's going to get a first round knockout. And then next up, still staying in the heavyweight division, we have Stefan Struve versus Antonio Minotauro Nogueira. Again, it's almost the same kind of fight, except Stefan Struve, has had a lot of health issues. Minotauro Nogueira is coming in 33-4. He's 39 years old. He's a veteran, a Hall of Famer. He's been through some wars out there. He's got 21 submissions, but he hasn't fought in over a year, and he's lost his last 2 fights. He's really just hasn't fought a lot in the last few years, and he had his arm broke by Frank Mir. He got knocked out by he got submitted by Verdum. It just has been not the same fighter, and he's fighting Stefan Struve, who comes in now. He has had a lot of layoff due to his health issues. He's a really tall fighter. He's 7 feet tall. He's only 27 years old. His build has finally gotten there. He's coming in now. He used to come in at like 245, 250. Now he's coming in about 265, 260, around that range. He's big. He KO'd Stipe Miocic not too long ago. He has been knocked out 6 times, but he's fought again hard guys. And you're fighting the heavyweight division. He's coming in 25-7. He's got 23 finishes, 16 submissions. I don't know if he'll submit Big Nog, but I think he'll knock him out. Like I said, he's a younger fighter. Again, another fighter you better have in your lineup, because he's going to get a finish, first or second round. He's coming in at 10,800 on DraftKings, 4,400 on counter move. For counter move, he is a steal. The fact that Minotauro Nogueira is costing you 5,200 on counter move is a crime. You need to get Stefan Struve. If you're playing counter move, you get Stefan Struve in there. That is the cheapest, most bang for your buck. You're going to get 4,400 is a steal, and he will get you points. Even if he doesn't win, he's not going to get finished. He's going to go to a decision if he was to lose, but he won't lose this fight. I'm pretty sure that he'll take this one. And in the bantamweight division, we're going to Reginaldo Vieira and Dileno Lopes. These guys, I had to kind of do my homework on these guys, because I just have been caught up with other things this past year. I hadn't gotten to see these guys as much. But Vieira comes in at 12-3. He's got 9 first round submissions. Now he is the underdog in this fight. Lopes coming in at 18-1. He's got 16 finishes, 12 submissions. He's only got 1 knockout loss, which was back in 2013. I really think, though, that Vieira is going to win. He's an underdog, and he's someone to get in your lineup. He's coming in at 8,800 on DraftKings, 4,300 on counter move. If you're looking for if you're trying to play Ronda Rousey, Stefan Struve and this guy Vieira, those are guys that you can get into your lineup if you really want to pay the money for Ronda Rousey. And then next up in the lightweight division, we have Glaico, Franca, and Fernando Bruno. Franca comes in 11 finishes. He's got 6 knockouts. He's 24 years old. He's a young guy. He's got 8 first-round victories, 1 submission loss, and 2 decision loss. Bruno's coming in at 15-2. He's 35 years old, so he's the older fighter. 8 submissions, 7 decisions. So he's not going to get you that much points. I definitely would take Vieira in this one. He's 10,200 on DraftKings, 4,900 on counter move. If you're looking for somebody, again, he's definitely going to win the fight. So if you're just kind of looking for a sure thing, I would move towards Franca in this one. And then in the light heavyweight division, we have Mauricio Shogun Hua versus Little Nog Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Both these guys are veterans. This is actually a rematch of a fight that they had years ago. Shogun coming in at 22-10. He's only 33 years old, and he's got 19 knockouts. So again, somebody that has a high finish rate. He's lost 4 of his last 5 fights, but he's throwing 3.6 significant strikes per minute, and he's got 2 takedowns per fight. He's fighting Little Nog, who's coming in at 21-6. He's the bigger fighter. He's 2 inches taller, but he's 39 years old. He's never really beaten any of the elite guys. He was knocked out by Anthony Rumble Johnson in 45 seconds his last fight. and he's really cheap, but he's not going to win this fight. I wouldn't pay, even if you were looking for someone on like counter move 4,200 on counter move. I wouldn't pay that because he's almost definitely going to. I mean, it's pretty much a sure thing as far as I'm concerned that he's going to lose this fight, and so I would definitely take Mauricio Shogun Hua in this fight. And then in the headlining, super built-up fight that they've had, it's the women's bantamweight between Rowdy Ronda Rousey and Bethe Pitbull Correia. Anybody who's, you guys know I like to look for underdogs. I always like to find guys that maybe no one, especially for fantasy purposes, that people that aren't going to be drafted all the time. Now Ronda Rousey, she's definitely going to win this fight. I'm sure that Correia, everyone's acting like she's some knockout artist. She's coming in 9-0. She only has 2 knockouts, but her one knockout in the UFC was in the second round. She's never beaten anybody in the first round, and most of her fights are second or third round decisions. She's only got 2 knockouts, 7 decisions. So her last knockout that she had against Shayna Baszler, it was a stoppage. It was just it was a good victory for her, but she doesn't. I don't even know why she's even in the conversation for this fight. There's so many people that are more deserving. Ronda Rousey, as we all know, coming in at 11-0, 9 submissions, 2 knockouts. The only time she's got 10 victories in the first round, only one person, which was Miesha Tate, took her to the third round, and then she won that one. So she's going to win this fight. But here's the thing you have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to pay, $12,200 on DraftKings or $6,000 on counter move for the 100 points? You got just as good of a chance with Sal Pelele, like I said, or Stefan Struve, or Vieira. You've got to spend your money wisely. So yes, Ronda Rousey will definitely get you the 100 points for the first round finish, but you got to that's going to be a quarter of your DraftKings lineup, and same thing for counter move. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're drafting. Do think she wins and will stay champion. I'd really like to see her fight Jessica Andrade. I think Jessica Andrade would give her all sorts of trouble. Not saying that she would win, but I'm just trying to look for someone that would be able to beat her, since the cyborg thing doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. And Miesha Tate, again, she's a good fighter, but it seems like she's always just going to be the number 2. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry it took so long to get this one out there. As I told you guys, I'm trying to make these videos as frequently as I can. And also, like I said, I'm trying to broaden out into other things, other sports. I cannot wait for football season, and I'll be doing fantasy quick picks. I'm not going to be able to go through every game or anything, but I'll do my high-end quarterback and then sleeper quarterback and go position through position to give you guys some good fantasy advice for those as well. So like, subscribe, share, and this is From Steph to You. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you.
Assassin. So you wanna be a rock superstar?